Welcome to The Deep Dive. We take your sources, we unpack the crucial insights. And today, well, we're diving into a really critical situation. We're asking, what is actually happening in the Middle East right now? Our guide for this is the Stylo News Strategic Watch, the Middle East series. Specifically, their first deep dive looking at why the region feels so much like a powder keg.
That's right. And look, if you're trying to make sense of all the complex headlines coming out of Gaza, Iran, everywhere else, really, this is for you. We're aiming to, break down the conflicts, the risks that are just climbing, who the key players are, and maybe where this could all be heading, just cutting through the noise, basically, to get to what really matters.
Okay, let's get into it then. The Stylo News Strategic Watch, it paints a picture of the Middle East being, well, quite literally on fire this past week, the period ending July 13th. And right at the heart of it still is the intense conflict between Israel and Hamas.
And what the report really makes clear is that, despite all these attempts to de-escalate, there's no real peace deal anywhere close. Ceasefire talks have happened, sure, Doha, Cairo, but they are fundamentally stuck. The sources even talk about how the U.S. tried to broker, I think it was a 60-day truce. President Trump pushed for it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel, he ultimately wasn't going for it.
Right. So it sounds like it's not just, talks breaking down, but maybe a deeper fundamental clash in what they actually want. How does the Stylo report frame that, the strategic thinking behind these non-negotiable positions from Netanyahu and Hamas?
Exactly that. It's a core divergence. Netanyahu has been, well, incredibly explicit about it. For Israel, no ceasefire until Hamas is dismantled, period. And then on the flip side, Hamas is just as firm. They're saying, look, nothing doing until Israel completely withdraws. And importantly, there are international guarantees to protect Palestinians. So you have this huge gap, this chasm between their objectives. And that's the main reason why diplomacy is just hitting a wall.
And while those diplomatic gears are jammed, the military action, according to Stylo News, just keeps escalating.
Escalating, yes, significantly. Israel is really expanding its operations. We're seeing major military campaigns. They have names like Iron Swords, Rising Lion.
Right.
But what's really critical here, and the Stylo report digs into this, is how these operations show a pretty profound shift. It's not just about Gaza anymore. They're hitting targets in Lebanon, in Syria, Yemen, even deep inside Iran.
Wow.
Yeah. So this isn't just like a tactical escalation. It feels more like a strategic redrawing of the whole battlefield.
Yeah.
The implications go way beyond Gaza itself.
That is an incredible expansion. Does the Stylo report shed light on Israel's stated position, especially regarding Iran and its nuclear activities? Is this reacting? Or is it, like you said, a bigger strategic change?
The report points to a very clear, very firm strategic declaration from Israel. They basically said they're done waiting. If Iran starts up its nuclear activities again, Israel has explicitly stated they intend to strike first.
Strike first.
Strike first. Bypassing, more international talks that might just fail anyway. So it really signals a shift towards preemptive action. Reflects a real impatience, I think, with those diplomatic deadlocks we talked about.
That shift towards preemption is, that's significant. Now, amidst all this strategic maneuvering, there's the human cost. It must be immense.
Oh, absolutely devastating. And the report doesn't shy away from it. The UN itself has called Gaza a graveyard for children.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The report really underlines the scale of the human toll. Infrastructure is shattered. Aid struggles to get in. And the numbers, they're just staggering. Over 57,000 Palestinians reported killed. Just think about that. And in like one single day recently, over 110 people died in Israeli strikes. It's hard to comprehend.
That is incredibly grim. And I imagine that horror, that anger, it must spill over online, right?
Yeah.
Does the Stylo report look at social media? What's the feeling there?
It does, yeah. And it's pretty much what you'd expect, a stark reflection of the reality on the ground. You look at platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and it's a digital battleground. The report finds hashtags like hashtag Middle East, hashtag Israel, hashtag Hamas, hashtag Iran are just absolutely flooded with content.
Yeah.
And the sentiment, around 65% of those posts show decidedly negative sentiment. People are furious, outraged, and deeply polarized.
65% negative. That's a huge number.
Sure.
How does that online intensity, that polarization, how does it connect to sort of wider global reactions, international support or criticism for Israel or Hamas?
Well, it's kind of a split picture, which is interesting. The Stylo report notes that while Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to maintain strong support within Israel, internationally, it's quite different. The EU, for example, they've put some trade discussions with Israel on pause. And globally, you're just hearing louder and louder calls for accountability, for restraint. So that international pressure is definitely building. It's a key part of the whole dynamic right now.
But the conflict's impact, it goes beyond the front lines or even global opinion polls, doesn't it? The report also touches on maybe quieter tensions, things like mediation efforts, regional military balances.
That's a really important point. The report does detail how countries like Qatar and Egypt are working hard, often behind the scenes, trying to mediate, trying to find some path to peace.
Right.
But as we said, with those core positions so far apart, their success has been pretty limited so far. And then there's this other layer, often overlooked, which adds pressure. The U.S. has a major military base in Qatar, Al Udeid, and that base is under threat from Iran. So that just throws another wrench into the works, adds complexity, puts pressure on the region's military balance, which is already shaky. It's a real tightrope walk strategically.
And you mentioned Iran, their axis of resistance, which people hear about a lot. That remains a big factor in all this regional instability, right?
A huge factor, precisely.
Awful.
This axis, it includes groups you've likely heard of, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen. And while the report notes they've definitely taken some serious hits, both from Israel and the U.S., it also emphasizes they're still remarkably active, especially around the Red Sea, causing shipping disruptions, and also up near Israel's northern border. Their continued activity just highlights how interconnected all these conflicts are. It's never just about one single flashpoint. It's this whole complex web, all these actors influencing each other. So ultimately, if you step back and look at what the Stylo News Strategic Watch is telling us, it really highlights that the Middle East is, it's truly on a knife's edge right now. The fighting hasn't stopped, diplomacy seems completely stuck, and the prospects for any kind of real, lasting ceasefire, they look incredibly fragile. It's not just one isolated conflict. It's like a regional chessboard, and the next few moves could genuinely determine whether we see some kind of peace or, well, a much wider, more devastating war.
That's a really powerful summary of just how tense and dangerous things are. And it brings up a crucial question, I think, for all of us watching this. Given everything we've just unpacked from the Stylo News report, what could actually happen next?
Exactly. That's the key takeaway, perhaps. The critical thought for you, listening, to really mull over is this. What specific signs should we be looking for? Like what shifts in diplomatic language or military postures or even those regional alliances we talked about?
Yeah.
What observable changes might signal that the region is tipping towards one scenario over another, maybe one of the more dangerous ones?
A really vital question to keep in mind. We certainly hope this deep dive has helped provide a clearer picture, offered some crucial insights into these complex dynamics. Stay informed, everyone, because in times like these, truly understanding the full scope, well, that's everything.